Good afternoon, everyone. Afternoon, morning, evening, whatever. This is Giovanni Brewstone with the Popglitz Podcast, and today I am interviewing Miss Korona. She is what's up, Detroit rap legend. For those who know me, I was just telling her I've been a broken record. I've been talking about this all summer long. I have been wanting to interview someone in Detroit all summer. It's been a weekly thing, monthly. I said it's still not happened. And I came across Miss Korona, courtesy of Misty Blanco, the Misty TV firm. But I'm definitely happy to have you. You've got an amazing story. And how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. And for those Detroiters who aren't familiar with the new name, Misty Blanco, Misty is Detroit's own Mysterious. You guys know the legendary artist Mysterious. That's my sister. Shout out to her and shout out to you
For making the band.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, she was on the way to be getting legendary before making the band, but that stamped it. You know, I was that's some Detroit legendary stuff right there. That's how we act.
Yes, absolutely. So I have to mention a little of what I said during the pre-show. So I was getting dressed. And almost dropped the razor in the bathroom because I said, "Did this woman just say that she's the reason why half of these niggas need Rogaine?" Yeah. That's serious.
Because
the puns I love.
Thank you. You know that was a line that came back because and the line that follows that is pushing wigs back. You know, because lyrically, that's just how I come. I mean, performance wise, when I write, I'm trying to push wigs back. So, you know, if you see me perform and you look up the next day and your hairline receding, it's probably because.
And as I said earlier, you know, you stand out as an artist. I have grown into interviewing artists. It's probably not appropriate to be saying directly in front of an artist, but I enjoy great lyricism, good artistry. And, unfortunately, we don't always get to talk about that stuff because, there's a whole lot of other stuff, that comes with the industry. And just with that being said, I love your work. And so, again, you're unique. You're not going to be mistaken for anyone else.
I hope not,
Yeah.
That's one thing that I focused on in my younger years, just trying to develop my own sound, trying to find my own voice and not mimicking an artist directly, but using some artists as inspirations, of course. But I never tried to model myself after anybody. Although MC Light is like, that's to me, she's like the blueprint of the initial inspiration for me.
Okay.
I never wanted to be exactly like her. I never wanted to sound just like her. I just wanted to be just as dope as she was. So, yeah.
I agree. And so, usually with most artists, you can hear a little inspiration, you hear a tad bit of someone else. But, the times I've listened to you, particularly this morning, I was supposed to be doing something else. And, I was listening to projects through and through because, again, there's not another way of putting it that these do stand out and they are not to be mistaken with anyone else. And it's good to see that over the years, that creative artistry was still able to, it's still there. Haven't seen, for me to have listened to your last project, it had been 4 years, I think, since you had released something. You didn't sound rusty at all.
Well, it was a little over 4 years because I put out the injection in 2010. So it was like, I dropped a
Okay.
song or two here and there. So it was, a long minute before I put out another EP. Um, but I was still touring and doing projects collectively with other folks in between that time frame. But in all honesty, it was a huge struggle trying to find the right production to
Yes.
create what I wanted the next thing to sound like.
Hmm.
And my producer at the time, whose name is Chains, um, once we dropped the injection and the dope music projects, like every artist in the city seemingly wanted to tap into him. So the sound kind of got filtered out a little bit throughout the
Hmm.
city, and I just had to figure out what was next for me. What would the next project sound like? And I honestly retired for a minute. I retired for 4.5 years, and was like doing photography and wasn't thinking about rapping, and then the pandemic hit and it changed everything. And so I'm back now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that will definitely inspire anyone.
Yeah.
And so, tell me, what is it like to have a global pandemic practically named after you? How is that irony?
it's it's bittersweet, you know what I'm saying? It's bittersweet because one, like you gotta try to ride that thing, you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
and I tried to jump on it before it became tragic for a lot of people. Nearly
Right.
everybody has been connected with someone that they know closely that had it severely or passed away. So during that time, like right, I think it was about a week or two before I dropped the virus EP, is when they started announcing all of the deaths. So I was like,
Oh man.
I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I should drop this project. I might need to change my name. Unfortunately, I had COVID twice. My mom had COVID twice. My dad had COVID.
Sorry
Uh,
to hear. I know about you. I didn't know about the parents. Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah, my parents had it. But my mom and I are the only ones who had it twice. My niece had. I mean, like nearly everybody in my family had. I lost. At one time, I was like counting the people that had passed, and it was like up to. I stopped at like 18 because I started getting
Oh my
depressed.
God.
Yeah, so
I
I
don't
was
even
like,
think I've known others who have had that many who or
yeah,
who've been able to count that. I feel like that's an important part of this narrative because
mhm,
you know how this has gone with folks not taking it seriously.
right. So at that point, um, it was about a week leading up to dropping the project. And I'm 100% independent. So, you create your own dates and time frames and things of that
Right.
nature. So I was like, yo, maybe I put a post on social media and was like, maybe I shouldn't drop this project. And I'm really thinking about changing my name. And at the time, a friend of mine had lost her dad and her uncle in like a week time frame. And she put a comment in the post and said to me, no, no, we need you. Like, don't let this virus steal you away from us too. Like, we want to hear what you have to say. And so that, as well as my parents encouraging me to still stay Miss Corona and release my project,
Hmm.
it just gave me that ammunition. Like, okay, but it was a lot of people who weren't familiar with me who thought I was trolling. So I had people.
I bet.
Yeah, I had some nasty comments, thrown at me.
I can
And
only imagine.
oh yeah, they were hell no. I was, oh
We've
man,
had nothing but trolling for 2 years anyway. So that was the first thing that I thought. I said, okay, her name was Corona before this.
right.
I could only imagine what
Yeah.
type of reaction she must be getting
Hmm.
after putting this project out. And if anyone, I mean, of course, this happened before, the loss of friends, but if anyone, deserves this project title, this would be you. You literally you
Right.
experienced this every
Yeah.
bit of the pandemic.
Yeah. So, and I was honestly, before all of the mayhem and the madness started happening, before it even hit the states, I saw a broadcast about it being a virus called the coronavirus. And I was like, I should do a song. I haven't did anything in a minute. I should just do a song, just thinking that it was just something, like a typical flu, maybe. I didn't know.
As did we all.
Right. And so I started seeing people hitting me up, like my homegirl in Cali, Lyric Jones, and uh, legendary artists like Chino XL. Everybody's like, okay, now you need to drop a song. And I was like, already, the wheels are
In
already
that
moving.
mode.
And I ended up creating that EP in like I think I wrote it in like 7 days,
Okay.
and I just knew going in. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a 6-song EP. Initially, it just started off with me wanting to do just one record, and then I was like, nah,
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. It was like
Too much was going on to just do,
yeah,
just do one song.
and it wasn't even the fact that it was a lot going on because the world hadn't shut down yet. Everybody was still working. I had a job, a regular
Hmm.
9 to 5 job, and um, it was just everything was just business as usual. So
You're right.
nothing was. It didn't hadn't even hit the United States yet, and I was just like, yo. But by the time it hit the United States, was the time that I was about to record like the last 2 songs, and
Okay.
the day that I did the photo shoot for the cover was the day that the governor of Michigan said that she's gonna shut down everything, and we had a
That was
curfew.
fun.
Yeah, so downtown Detroit was,
Figure out when you could go outside
oh my God,
to
downtown
actually
Detroit
work.
was completely vacant. It was like so empty. And if anybody who's ever been to Detroit, any Detroiters that's watching, they know how busy it is, down by Joe Louis Arena and well, Cobo Hall and everything. It's super busy all throughout the day. And my photographer and I, we went out and we literally saw like 3 people within an hour and a half time
Oh,
of shooting. It was
wow.
scary, bro. It was like I was like, oh man, but in my mind, by the time I got finished writing and recording, I was like, yo, if the world is coming to an end and I had to put something in a time capsule when they dig the earth back up, like
Mhm.
this is what I want my legacy to like. I want people to hear
That's
this.
exactly what it comes across as a time capsule.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, like, and I remember my DJ, my brother DJ Lowe's, he was supposed to be on the record. I kept hitting people up like, yo, I'm about to do this EP. I need a beat. I need a beat. And I called him and he's like, okay, I got a session at somebody else's studio. When's the next time you going? I'm like, I'll be back tomorrow. And he called me. I was like, oh, I'm done. I'm done. He said, you done what? I said, I'm done with the project. It's they're mixing it. It's over. I don't have no more sessions. He was like, man, I missed it. He said, you moving too fast. I said, the virus moving too fast. I'm trying to
Yeah.
keep up. I was
I
like,
thought I was going to die every day when
I thought I was
this
gonna
first
die.
started.
Yeah, because when I had it, it was February of last year, and
That's really early on.
I was the sickest I had ever been in my whole life. I couldn't even open my eyes. I had a headache for like five
Oh,
days
wow.
straight, and I called my sister. My parents were out of town. I called my sister. I'm like, I'm gonna catch an Uber to the hospital because I hadn't eaten. I hadn't been able to hold any food. And so she was like, "You want me to come take you?" She took me to the emergency. And they're like, "Oh, you got a upper respiratory infection and a viral
Okay.
something else and all this shit." So I'm like, I can't. I was literally I survived off of this is no exaggeration. I survived for 4 days off of the double flavored uh, Sour Patch Kids
Oh,
and,
man.
and coconut water, and I would eat like 3 of those big flavored Sour Patch Kids, 3 or 4, and be full. And I would drink a coconut water, and I was like, I'm about to die, like, but I was scared. I live alone. I'm like, my parents out of town.
Yeah.
Who's gonna find me? I love my sister, but she is in her own world. She's all over the place. She work at the post office. She do got different things going on. My mom's the one who calls and checks on me all the time. I'm like, they in California living it up on vacation. Like, if something happens to me, who gonna find me? But I had no idea that
Mhm.
it was COVID because they hadn't
Yeah.
announced it had hit the United States until a week later. And
A whole week later.
a whole week later, I was like, and they started announcing all of the symptoms. I'm like, I had that shit, yo. They weren't tested
Oh
for
my
it.
God.
Yeah, and so later down the line, my doctor was like, "Yeah, I believe you. I believe you had COVID." But the second time I had it, I only lost my sense of taste and smell, which was weird, but it was definitely better than the first go round. I never want to feel like that ever again in life.
Yeah, not having taste and smell is torturous,
It's torture.
but you can still slightly function. And I was just thinking that, the Sour Patch Kids and coconut water, you know, unfortunately, I think I do have days where they might mirror my diet of Sour Patch Kids and coffee, uh, which probably does sound like something that a person with something wrong with them would eat, but I'm doing better. Now,
I'm
so
gonna
look, so,
get on that diet again. I'm trying to lose a couple pounds, so I might do a Sour Patch Kid and coconut
so
water.
you can, yes, you can brand that as a diet.
You know,
Some of us have already started that.
right?
So look, one of my favorite tracks from that would be 45.
Mm,
Um, that was very interesting. This was about, obviously, maybe not so obvious for some people, the 45th president. And, I think that part of the lyrics to that song was talking about, not knowing whether we're going to die every day.
mm-hmm.
And just stating that, like this was a game. And that is exactly how I felt in sitting and watching this. I had a time where I couldn't follow anyone on social media within a 10-mile radius of where I live. People were being absolutely
Ridiculous.
crazy. And it was
Yeah,
like it was just, division in people on 10 all day,
yeah.
every day, while people are dropping dead, left and right.
You know, it was it's funny how that song even came about. Chains, he made that beat, and I was watching a broadcast of Trump, and he's just talking like it was, oh, this is a hoax, and this and that, and of course, I went through it, and I had
Yeah,
just,
as the person who experienced it,
yeah, and
that must be
I had
terrible. You want to come through the television, didn't you?
I wanted and I had just like 2 days prior dropped my parents medicine and stuff off at their door, and like
Mhm.
it was so weird because again traffic is like nowhere.
Non-existent.
I'm like one of 7 cars on the dang on highway for a 45-minute drive, and then I get out there and I gotta leave the stuff on the porch, and we like waving at each other out the window. And I'm like, wow. And
Crazy, I know.
I look at this thing and I'm like, he just taking it as a joke. But that's the whole reason why I even the tone of voice that I used, I didn't even use my regular tone because I wanted it to sound like a parody. I didn't want it to be like a bang over the head, even though I'm dragging it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wanted it to sound like how he sounds. Like it's not really serious. You know what I mean? Like he was, I don't know. In my mind, as I was writing it, I was picturing Slick Rick rapping. So
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I hear that.
I was trying to channel
I
his
was wondering what that sound was.
I was trying to channel his accent and also the accent of the broadcaster who was from over there. And I was like,
Okay.
and everybody he just kept saying that Donald Trump was treating it like a parody. He was like, it's almost like some kind of parody. And I'm like, man, that's exactly how it feels. And I don't know, the song just came out of nowhere, really. That was the very last song that I wrote for the project, which is ended up being
Okay.
the very last song on the project. Yeah.
Ironically. And yeah, I mean, you all had riots there around, at the state capitol
Yeah.
around this. I mean, I remember these broadcasts. I had to stop watching television. I couldn't watch the news. It was just crazy. Remember there being one broadcast where they were saying he was so erratic, and it was a very calm one. It was peaceful, and they were like, "See, he had a professional news conference. And then the next day, like around noon, I'm looking at my phone and I'm seeing tweets saying, "Liberate Michigan, liberate Virginia." And that was for the sake of having folks like to go outside and be mad. And that was when folks were like going after the governor there and trying to,
they plotted to
you
kidnap.
know,
Plotted to kidnap that woman. That is crazy.
win more. Yes.
Whew. Yeah, it was a lot of madness going on here. Which I don't even want to dig into that. That's a whole.
I understand. I know that's a whole other thing.
But it
And so,
definitely it proved my point. It proved my point in some of the lyrics and the record. Like, he was trying to create this division of people. You know what I mean? Like it was crazy. You on one hand you got folks talking about it's not real, but then you got people who stocking up on all the supplies in the world and hoarding stuff.
right.
You got us black folks in church praying the virus away. It was
Right.
this whole show. It was, and I still, it was weird, man. I'm like, this is like a weird reality show.
This feels like rehab from 2020. Right now, sort of. We're still trying to. I'm still trying to recover. I'm trying to see, is it safe to look at TV? I don't know. It's still a little bit going on.
It's not, because even still here in Michigan, you have delusional people that still have Trump Pence 2021, 2022 signs in their yards, and they out here, they really think he won, and they like he's still
a whole other thing. Yep, that's I'm in Virginia, the South. Yes, that's still happening around here too. And so, look, you were, just as a sidebar, you were thinking of changing your name at one point.
I was,
because of this.
Yes.
Now, as an idea of something that you could have gone with, I don't know if you had considered this, but for those out there who don't know, your name used to be Pimpette.
Well, we
prior to that. No, I just wanted to say how much I love that name.
Oh man, we ain't going back there. Listen, people still
tell us how that happened. The story behind that name.
Became Pimpette. Oh, that was my name when I was young. So, and it was actually initially it was.
I'm a bad influence, so I love to come up with all the inappropriate stuff is what I support. But what did you say? It was actually I missed it.
It was actually Pimpette the Mac at first. So I ended up dropping because I'm like Daddy Mac Daddy. Whatever. So I came up with that name. So my middle name is Antoinette, and so. But my biological father used to say that I have a little bop to my walk. He's like, my baby, she a little pimp, and I don't know how it came about. But my cousin India and I, we were in elementary school, said we were going to start a rap group, and she was Sneaky Smiley, which is our last name, Smiley, and so I was like, I'll be Pimpette the Mac. we were so young, and I thank God that Proof harassed me changing my name, because that was terrible. Yeah,
that's why of course he knew better. I'm just a bad influence here. The full name that you mentioned, I would 100, just because it's just so creative. I would 100% have been out to see that.
From my past still call. They run into me and be like, "Oh, what's up, Pimpette?" I'd be like, "I have not been Pimpette in 20 years." So, I don't know how long it's been since you've seen me.
That's what your friends are for. To always remind you of where you came from, right?
That's
always gotta drag you right back.
That's right, man. But I can't. I mean, like, I can't even think about what I would change my name to, because all of my names have been used by women in the industry. So my first name is Paula. You had what was her name? Paula Perry. Paula Perry was an MC, and then my middle name is Antoinette. Yeah, Antoinette. And my last name is Smiley, and it's a MC an artist from Detroit whose name was Smiley, so I can't even give him. I can't
Can't
even
even,
give him my
even if
name,
you wanted to.
even if I want to. So I don't know. I toyed around with everybody. I was like, I don't know. I said I would change it to Roni, but I don't. That's what all my friends call me. They call me Roni.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. Then I feel like I have to rap like LL Cool J when just be all about the ladies when I rhyme and shit about with that name. So
And so, just so you know, Misty Blanco says hello.
hey, what up, though?
Yes,
Right
she's
there.
out there in internet land watching. Now, so since it had been a few years since you had been out of the game, other than some music and appearances here and there, have the events of the last 4 or 5 years kept you from? Has it affected your creativity? Possibly, been draining. The news has been a little
Hmm.
tough on some of us.
You
Yes,
know
no.
what? Good thing I don't have regular television. I have a lot of streaming apps, so I could just go directly to what I want to watch. But
That's good.
social media mainly Facebook and my friends list in Facebook. I love my folks that follow and support me, and this is no shade and no salt thrown at them. But sometimes it's depressing because within the past year and a half, it's like Facebook has become like an obituary site. You know what I mean? Like every
Yeah.
time I look up, somebody saying rest in peace," and again, like I at 18 last year, I just stopped counting.
I
So
can't imagine.
but it's like every day, every other day, I'm sending condolences to people, and it can be depressing. It can be. So I try to stay away from it, but I also know that that's one of the main ways that people are able to communicate with me because I don't really give my number out like that. So, and then
Right.
I like to interact with folks that aren't like the people who close to me. Of course, they got my number, but I like to interact with I don't like to call them fans. You know what I'm saying? But like
Mhm.
my friends, supporters, um, and
Well, you do have some fans.
yeah, I mean, it's we become friends over the years. So I wish their kids happy birthdays, and they do the same for mine. But um, sometimes, and I just have fans who just only care about the music. They don't really care about anything personally going on in life or anything. But those who I've established connections with, and it's people who I've never met before, but I've been like cool with them via social media for like 15 years. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Yeah.
they might hit me up on Facebook video and, hey, I saw you having surgery. I just wanted to send some love. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I stay connected. But it's a little bit much at times because I'm an empathic person too. So when I see those posts, like I be sad about like, oh man.
Yeah.
So I just try to. I'm learning how to make beats. So I'm like try to stay
Okay.
since I can't move around and do my photography thing. So I like got some equipment to record at home, and I'm making beats now. So they pretty dope too.
Okay.
People
That's
think
good.
they think I'm trolling. They
So,
think I've been making beats for a while. I'm like, that's an honor, that they think it's that good. But I just started like September. So
okay, which is good. It means that you'll still be able to, work whether or not you have other folks around you or not. I mean, for one, you released something, in the middle of the pandemic. I remember Kelly Rowland saying that she had to stop working because, everyone was on quarantine and she didn't know how to do anything.
hmm
And as soon as that lifted, it lifted, she said, I've got to learn how to be able to do something in the house by
right.
myself,
Yeah, I had to
to
shoot
help produce
my
my
own
own work.
video. I shot my own video for Respect the Name in my dining room mirror, like, because I wanted to have some type of content to go with the EP. But I've been trying to pick up everything. I taught myself how to paint. I was like,
Okay.
I'm trying to do everything, but I got a clothing line too, so I just really locked in on rebranding that with my partners and just trying to stay creative and try to stay mentally healthy, throughout this whole thing because
Right.
living alone and just being we still in this thing, you know what I'm saying? All of us still in
Right.
this thing. So I'm like, and then I had to miss the whole summer because I had knee surgery. So I'm like, damn, I did another
Yeah,
pandemic.
the fun part.
Yeah.
Right.
Like last summer we couldn't do nothing. Now this summer they open things up and
Yeah, something happened.
I can't do
See.
nothing. So I just think that I don't know. I think the universe really needed me to sit down for a minute and focus in on all of my creative abilities
Hmm.
and even the things that I doubted myself about being able to do on my own, like production. Um, you know, the creators has been reassuring me that I can do it. So
Yeah, see, things are working out in the end. And so, look, so since you mentioned about what was needed for you, to do creatively and moving forward, Cardi B happened to recently mention what the industry needed. She said that she blames rappers doing drugs on a lot of these slow and depressing songs that are out. And she said the industry needs me because she said that there needs to be some turn up music right now. So I'm wondering if this is something that you agree with, one, and two, what do you think the industry needs as far as rap at the moment?
okay, so I feel like um, I don't know. I won't say that music is responsible for a lot of people doing whatever type of activities that they do.
Mhm.
I think that has to do with mental health in general and sometimes peer pressure. So I don't know. Let me take that back. And when it comes peer pressure means that some of these people are impressioned by the music that they're hearing. And a lot of the artists are talking about it in up tempo records and in the slow and depressing records too. Because
Point.
Future has up tempo club bangers
Uh-huh.
and he's talking about Percocets,
Right.
Molly's, and Percocets. So you
Hmm.
can't just say it's the
Who
slow.
says he doesn't use any of it either?
He said he
Right.
don't use any of it.
The irony. That's what he said. He said that he said that he raps about drugs and yet he doesn't do any of it. He said that that's what people want to hear.
Oh, okay. But yeah, okay. So
Okay.
I don't know. I've never met Future in person, so I can't speak on
It was
that.
just an interesting statement. That's all.
Yeah, it is. It is a very interesting statement because that's basically all he talks about. But
Right.
I think that it's up to like us artists. We don't necessarily know what the industry needs. We don't know what the consumer needs and wants. Because you guys are the ones who I never would have thought that my music would impact half of the people that is impacting, or you picking up lyrics and things that most MCs don't even pick up on. So I don't necessarily know, and we shouldn't even put ourselves in that position to say what the industry needs. Just create what you feel in your heart you need to create. You know what I mean? Because you don't think that people need this is what the industry needs, and then you looking crazy if it bomb. You know what I'm saying? Like if I
Right.
come, the industry needs this, blah blah blah. We don't necessarily not to say just create the best body of work that you can create. I don't try to box myself in with one specific thing. Like you
Hmm.
know, that's why I try to tell producers all the time. They listen to a lot of my old stuff and they'll send me beats based off that. I tell them don't do that. Just send me whatever you think is fire because you never know. And that's how I ended up with the song like um No Mask because
Right.
and it's really something that people aren't used to me hearing or hearing me rap over a beat like that. But that's because people never send me beats like that. So Mark Cooper for being the one who was, he jumped
Stepped
out
out.
there and he just threw me what he thought was dope. But we don't necessarily know what the industry needs. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like everybody thinks that we know what other people need. We just need to just create from your heart and don't worry about it. Just, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Well, just as you were unsure about, this latest project, whether it should happen,
Yeah.
whether you should change your name, and then lo and behold, you have people who were rallying behind you to keep your name and to keep the project.
I mean,
And
and
it's a great.
my next project,
Sometimes you don't know.
exactly. Sometimes you don't know. And my next project that I plan on releasing is called The Healer and the Heartbreaker. So I'm like, some people was like, oh man, nobody want to hear no. But I don't care what. I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny. I don't necessarily care what one or five people in my immediate circle think folks don't want to hear, because somebody out there has been heartbroken and needs some healing.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And vice versa. Like, I just feel like, to me, it was a healing project for myself. So I wrote it and created it for myself, especially because people kept saying, man, you a heartbreaker. You out here dogging these boys. Like, I'm really the healer, dog. But okay, so I ended up with it. And hopefully you guys will love it, but it might not be for everybody.
Can't wait.
I can't wait either, because I
And
I can't. Oh, I can't wait. Ooh,
about how long do we have to wait for this?
I'm hoping to release the first single on Valentine's Day.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Yeah, so
very good.
we'll see. We'll
Time
see.
appropriate.
Yeah, we'll see if the stars align. I'm hoping that everything pans out the way that it needs to. But yeah, and then it'll be vinyl attached to that at some point down the line. But yeah.
Okay. And so I was wondering, as you were saying earlier about what the influences that people have as to, why they do certain things, certain substances, whether it comes from, the music, etc., whatever. I was just reading this morning, there's criticism about drill rap. You hear this. I've been hearing this off and on for years. You have police in the UK who try to, blame their knife attacks on that. And I think I remember reading this first, like maybe 4 years ago. So I get up this morning and I see in the last 2 weeks that the FBI in Chicago was blaming drill rap for their I guess uptick in gun crime there. And I was saying, how many years is this going to be a thing about blaming music? For one, drill even attacking it for the last 5 years, and it feels like the 90s, just about about whether or not we're going to weigh that rap as a problem or not. So I would like to know, as an artist, as a representative of this genre, what would you say if you had the chance to be in front of, say, one of these FBI people as they're doing a press conference about how they think that here we are on like year 30 of trying to associate the industry and the genre with their community problems? How would you address them?
Well, I mean, I would simply say it all points to the type of people that's involved with these genres that they're pointing out, and they only point the blame at black and brown, that create these different genres and sounds, because I never once heard anybody in the White House or the government saying that rock and roll is the reason for heroin abuse and meth use. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
they don't point that out and say we blame hard rock for people out here sniffing cocaine, and you know what I mean? Like they only
Mm-hmm.
try to tear down.
What are the people listening to who have, these houses blowing up?
Right.
you
Exactly.
know,
They probably
from
listen to
cooking
Marilyn
stuff in
Manson.
it.
But
I
we don't
don't
know
I
if
don't
they're
think it's
listening to
rap.
Marilyn Manson or if they're listening to Bach. They could be listening
Right.
to whoever. We don't know. They might be listening to Beethoven. We don't know what they're listening to. It's not, we ain't in everybody's houses, but I think that folks need to stop pointing the finger at who's doing what and who's the cause of what, and just try to figure out the resolutions and how to, how to solve these problems. Like, it's not this one specific sound that's causing people. What are the police doing to make these attacks happen? It ain't the music.
Mm-hmm.
It's how y'all treating people.
And I'll just add just quickly that, wondering why people are shooting, carrying guns, possibly illegal ones. Chicago and Detroit aren't exactly known for having the most upstanding police departments.
Right.
I remember I was reading about one of your chiefs some time ago using tax dollars to build a house for his mistress in Canada. So instead of, trying to help the community, and there was a time where the police, I think, was marching down. Someone shot a police officer, and they blocked off the whole neighborhood and just went into everybody's house until they found who did it. Damn the Fourth Amendment. But whatever. So this starts it. So say you're a felon, you can't have guns. Okay, well, you see how they're acting. The police, I have to protect myself from them and the neighborhood. Right. So I'm going to go get one that's illegal, and that's a part of it. But nobody wants to talk about how we got here, why it's happening. Right. It's just y'all in that damn bass. Whatever's got that bass pumping, that's what it is.
Right. Nobody wants to take full responsibility for. They don't want to hold themselves accountable for things that's happening. You know what I mean? Like, no, hold the police department accountable for why these attacks may be happening. Hold the community, and also hold the community accountable. But I never, I listen to all type of music, but I never once felt like when I was listening to System of a Down in my headphones at school that I wanted to stage dive off of a desk and elbow my teacher in the face. I never, you know what I'm saying? Even though that music got me pumped up and hyped, I didn't want to just go mosh pitting through the lunchroom.
Mosh pit in the lunchroom,
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I'll say I did a podcast with someone for years who used to say to their audience that while people are they talk about the genre and like some of the what's considered, I guess, the worst parts, and they would say that, well, there's conscious rap and everything is not like that. And so I'm sitting here as a co-host, and my response would be, okay, that's nice that you listen to that, but I like to listen to ratchet music too. And guess what? I haven't decided to go around shooting people just because I listen to what everybody else thinks is the worst of lyrics. Right. Yes, I listen to that, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm on this woman's side, only listening to conscious stuff, because I'm not. I'm still a pretty decent citizen in light of it,
And I've been watching the Colin in Black and White series that's on Netflix, and if a corporate white person were to watch this, they would be like, oh, he's very well spoken, he's so well groomed, he's put together nicely, oh yeah, but had you can do the same, you can be the same way, but had you just showed up with a baseball hat on before you spoke, they're already gonna put these stigmas on
I haven't watched it, but that debate did enter my mentions on Twitter last night about acceptable Black people.
Yeah, it's a very good show, but I want to go back to the comment that Cardi made. The thing is that one of the reasons why the world is just so chaotic right now is that it's not a good balance. You know what I mean? And it should be a balance. Like you said, you like ratchet music, you like conscious music. It should be a balance. Sometimes I want to listen to Meg Thee Stallion, and sometimes I want to listen to Hiatus Coyote. Sometimes I want to hear Erykah Badu. Sometimes I want to listen to some
balance is key.
Balance is key. And we need to man our own business too. Like, totally separate. But yeah, balance is key, and when you find a good balance, like, hey, you can rap some conscious lyrics over a ratchet beat, and then people might
that too.
giving them a message like, oh, I'm giving the world a message of love, but over a ratchet beat,
Right.
I don't know. I think that he has good balance when he does song selection, beat selections, and like how he creates songs. You know, he had people hype singing "I Love Myself" when he sampled that Isley Brothers joint, and
Who you just saying?
Kendrick Lamar when he
Yeah, yeah,
sampled.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
he has a good balance.
he definitely does.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a really good that song. The beat was hard. It was hype. But he had people throwing good words into themselves. Like, you know, hey,
Yeah,
I love myself. I saw a kid talk about how they were going through depression before that song came out, and then, you know what I'm saying, like that those words of affirmation pouring back into himself just brought him out of that. Like
yeah,
that's
that's needed,
yeah.
particularly this last year of suicides being up and things of that nature.
Ooh, man, it's like at the highest level. Man, it's sad. It's sad, but it's the times and that social media thing. You know what I'm saying? The times are just so different. Like everybody's
Right.
on their phones and they looking at thinking that everybody's life is so much better than like, oh man, I can't get this or I wish I had that. And even the whole likes thing, like people get so caught up in the likes and it's scary. It's scary how this suicide rate is going up because of a lot of social media bullying and so.
Yeah, Kevin Gates just had to take a break. He said
Oh yeah,
specifically for that reason,
yeah.
because of the comparing and feeling that you're not doing enough. And
Mhm.
last I checked, and I'm not on his page all the time, but I've seen him, his wife, his family, his house seems to be doing fine by me, in comparison to a lot of people. But that's even something for him to feel.
I mean, but
And,
that's something to think about too, because you know, even on the outside looking in, somebody can seemingly have everything and then have nothing to themselves. They might feel like they have nothing. Like people couldn't wrap their brain around the fact that the actor Robin Williams committed suicide when he did. Like he seemed
right,
he had everything. But it was something that was
you never know.
inside of him. You never know, like all the money in the world can't buy you happiness if it's something ailing you mentally or spiritually. Like you gotta figure that out. But um, I don't know. We need to when we had that little down break from social media, people was going crazy. But I just said I was like. I would be attached to. I stay attached to my phone. Like my phone stay with me, but I'll be doing plenty other things. I might be editing photos. I might be playing. I like word games to stimulate my brain.
It's
But
yes, it's good to have a life outside of it, and so that partially leads me to back to Misty Blanco. I said that she is someone who I enjoy following on social media because I tell her that she's actually doing something. Like her posts tend to be about work, and it's fun work. But
mhm.
she's not out here bullying folks, shaming people, memeing
Oh, I
people to
do that.
laugh
That's my
at.
job. I do that. I'm a troll. Yeah.
but yeah, just saying that there's some substance to what she's posting. So if I must be on, I try to lean more in that direction. Although I'm pretty sure there are people out there who are sitting and pointing at me right now saying I'm lying. I try, and I don't think I mentioned this on camera. I know we talked about it in the pre-show. How the two of you all met.
Oh man, we met when we were young little lads. No, yeah, we were
Sorry,
young.
I couldn't wait to get that out earlier before we started.
No,
It's
we,
like I need to know.
we were young. We were young. I think, as a matter of fact, I'll have to send it to both of you in your DMs. But I have a
Your
photo.
footage of something? Oh, photo.
I have a
Okay.
photo. I do have footage somewhere, but it's on like a VHS tape. But I have a photo of Misty and I almost said mysterious of Misty and I when we first met, and I was introduced to her by a guy named Vito, and Vito is a producer. He kept telling me about this young girl. He was like, "Man, I met this girl. She's so dope. She reminded me of you. Like you should be her mentor." And I was like, I'm still trying to get myself in the door at the time, and I'm like, I ain't never been nobody mentor. Like I've been mentor, but I had never been anybody's mentor. And I was like, he brought her to one of the shows that I had, and she rhymed, and I was like, wow, like she got. It's not many women in Detroit. Well, it's more women in Detroit on the hip hop scene now, but at the time, it was maybe about 7 or 8 of us that were active, and she was.
Okay.
I think Missy's probably like 4 years younger than I am. I was like, this voice is coming out this little girl's body. And I'm looking at her like, wow. And I was like, yeah, she's dope. But then, we just locked in ever since. She done moved to state and did this and that. We always seem to come back and connect with each other somehow. But, before social media, people be like, man, I ran into Mysterious. She asked me for your number. Okay, yeah. Well, situations like that. But that's my sis right there, man. So I'm glad
You
to
all
see
are a
that.
perfect fit. I mean, you all both are amazing lyrically. You're different.
We like wearing hats.
Yes, that too. See? Yeah, you all were a great mix. And so look, talking about her leaving, going state to state, with you being in Detroit, for one, it's always good to see people who do not abandon, where they're from, that they do show love to their home city. And so 8 Mile, which I'll get into in a minute, and yeah, sorry, I waited towards the end to get there. But
glad you waited. I was hoping you would have never talked about it. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm glad you did.
But no, so as someone, a lot has happened over the years, and since then, this film that you were in. If you had the money to do whatever you wanted in the city of Detroit, as someone who has spent as much time there as you have, what would you do? And what would you see fit in changing?
I would definitely, if I had the money to do exactly what I wanted to do in the city of Detroit, I would create a label and a distribution company. We do not have a machine. Haven't had a machine here since Motown left. So there aren't any outlets. We always have to go outside of Detroit to try to get a situation. And it's so
Which
much.
is a shame. You all started so much.
It's a shame because the talent is abundant here, and it's so many. And it's so funny that you asked that. And before I answer the question completely, I want to commend you because earlier you said you're just getting the hang of doing interviews with artists, but you're doing great because the questions that you ask are not typical questions. So to answer the question,
but go ahead.
no, it's a handful of artists, and I run into a few of them very often, and I always say to them like, man, I wish I had the money to put you on because if they just had the right opportunity, and the support, I could see their careers as being through the roof. It's so much star power here, and it's ridiculous and it's sad that a lot of people tap into Detroit, into the scene for the wrong reasons. They tap into the scene to get influence, and figure out what the next sound is, but they don't really want to invest in the artists who are creating the sounds and who are keeping the scene moving and afloat. So, I'm proud of seeing what Big Sean is doing. He's reaching back to a lot of artists that are on the come up. I wish he would reach back to some legendary artists who have been grinding for years, me included. I don't want him to, you know what I mean? I wish he would, because the thing is that people get caught up in what they feel the new wave is, but they tend to forget who's keeping the thing moving, and it's a lot of us who have been active since the 90s consistently and still going overseas and banging out tours and doing things and so it's don't forget about the legends too, you know what I mean? And honestly, if people they ain't really gotta do shit for me because I'm gonna make it happen on my own, but
I see that.
but it would be nice to see Like when he did that Cypher record on that Detroit, I was like, yo, it would have been nice if he would have got like a Guilty Simpson on that thing, or you know, some other people who could trade bars with him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
not to say the song was terrible, but when you got somebody who's lyrical like Big Sean and Eminem, I was hoping to see some people who can stand toe to toe, like Fat Cat and you know Elzai,
Hmm.
folks like that. But maybe I'm just being too much of an MC. And like Cardi said, nobody want to hear that. They want to hear some.
Some of us do, you know. Don't some of us absolutely do, and so yes, saving the best for not exactly last, but close to it. 8 Mile was a film, you know, hip hop musical that was, to me, is it's very relevant to this day. Looking back at this recently, I just and, you know, it's funny that I came across you in this story because I had recently been studying segregation of cities like Detroit. And one thing that I happened to miss was this 8 Mile wall. I had just been studying these segregation walls. And I said, how did I not know that there was this big cinder block wall going through the city? You know, I talk about this, I was writing about it. Other people didn't know about that. That's very significant to this story, particularly in looking at Eminem, and people think that he's someone like they'll just generalize him and say he's trying, you know, trying to be black, ignoring the fact that, you know, this was his culture, this was his community, and you know, why did he get this backlash? As I see it, you know, again, you have a community that literally was divided by a wall, you know, among race, and you know, these things culturally tend to continue for decades, even when it's illegal. You know, it's just how it works. And people would look at the white rapper and say, "You belong on that side of the wall. What you doing over here?"
Right.
And you know that these processes still continue, even though, you know, again, he's in this community, and this was his life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just see so much of this today. And again, I was reading articles about 8 Mile Wall over the summer, and about 2 months later, did I end up on the phone with Miz Korona?
Well,
So
you know,
that was very coincidental. But tell me about the experience of
it
being a
is
part of the film.
that is coincidental, and I want to talk about the experience, but also bring up the fact that the area that I live in now um, is like Grosse Pointe, Detroit border, and Grosse Pointe is another um, like white area. So you
Mhm.
know, it's a border that they try to separate, and they created a wall 4 years ago that tried to separate the entrance from you going in, down this one street. Um, it's
Y'all have
called
a history of walls.
oh man, it's called yeah, Kirchhoffville and Kirchhoffville and Alter Road, and they built this wall. And so the community on both sides protested against it. So they had to tear it down, and now it's a roundabout circle
Okay.
drive that you and I think that they wanted to do that because they were trying to say that it was a lot of crime happening and people were, you know, getting over to Detroit quick anyway, whatever. But we'll that's a whole nother thing. But the
Sure.
experience of being in the movie, it was a dream come true. Um, when it in the process, that was a dream come true. Um, the success of the movie was very dope. I really wish that I had proper representation after the movie dropped because I think that my career possibly could have went a little further, especially or at least people would have been able to contact me because I heard that folks were inquiring
Mhm.
who I was actually. You know, I kind of think about if 8 Mile came out now, like how 50 Cent is doing all of his shows, if 8 Mile
Mhm.
came out now during the era of the height of social media, and people would have had access to find and look up who Miss Corona is
Right.
or the lunch truck lady, then how many um, people my music would have been able to reach? Because even still today, folks don't connect the two. They don't connect that Miz Korona, even though at the end of the dang on movie on the credits, it says Miz Korona. But everybody walks out at the end of the movie when the credits is rolling. There ain't nobody trying to read that. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably still the only person that try to read the credits because I'll be trying to find out who people are.
As a writer, so I do. I am the person who I'm looking for folks who's tagged on Instagram and things. I need to know. I'm reaching out to folks, contacting them about things. So yeah, you're not the only one.
And you know that's probably because I was accustomed. I love reading the liner notes and CDs and all of that stuff. But when that movie opportunity came about, like I had to audition for that. I missed the first two auditions. I think the first two or three. Two
or three.
I had shows that were already booked. You know, one was the other was in New York, and the guy who was the casting director, like this ain't no shade, you know what I'm saying? Because I love Us, but he was a tall black dude with dreads chewing on a little chew stick. Gave me a card talking about he's filming a movie, he's casting for a movie and showing for audition. Now, let me just explain. Years prior to when I was younger, I had went to a music seminar and they're like, yeah, we shooting a documentary. And my homeboy was like, don't go up there like they shooting a porno. So I always like what is like, you know, it was no
women do have to be concerned about that. That's the thing.
You have to be. And so the thing
I do think if a man approached you at about that age, that's a big possibility.
So when he said something about the audition, you know, again I had shows, but that's another point that I'm making. There's no machine here. Nobody was filming movies here. Nobody was doing anything of that magnitude here. And I was just like, okay. So I ended up coming back, and at that particular time frame, I started seeing older white folks like at every venue that I happened to be at, like St. Andrews, we had Alvin's, they had the Lush Lounge. I'm looking like, what are these old white people doing hanging out at these venues? And so I saw the guy again. He was like, I really need you to come to this audition. I've been telling my boss about it. Now, he never said that what the movie was about, who was in it. So the next day, I saw in the news that they were doing auditions for Eminem's movie. And they're like, it's going to be at the Wire Frog, which was a popular event space and across 8 Mile on the East Point side of that's the white side of Detroit. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to that audition. But my homeboy called me and was like, don't go to that one. Come to the Omni Hotel. They've been looking for you. And I was like, I'm not going to the Omni Hotel. I'm going to Eminem's. He was like, it's the same. But I had to audition for that. I think they said it was like 120 women from the Midwest.
Okay.
That some of them rap for real and some of them didn't, but they were just trying out for the role. And I ended up beating out everybody. But when I was rapping, let me tell you, it was so funny because it was the main casting director whose name Mally Finn, and may she rest in peace. As she was filming me when I was rapping, she's backing up with the camera. So I'm rapping, and as I'm rapping, I'm thinking in my head like, "Oh shit, I'm scaring this old white lady." And so when we got done, she's like,
"Isn't that what Colin Kaepernick was talking about? The acceptable black people? You weren't being one of those that moment."
I forget the verse that I rapped for, but I wish I could remember the verse that I rapped for the audition. But I'm in there, I'm rapping, I'm like, I think it might have been my song Game Over, but I'm rapping a verse and she just bagging up with the camera, and I'm like, I almost stopped rapping. I'm scaring this lady, but once she was done, she's like, "Oh my God, that was so great!" And then like 2 weeks later, I got the call. And, you know, just imagine having to hold on to that information for a year and a half. Not tell anybody that I was in it, you know.
No, I cannot imagine. I can talk a little bit about what we're doing with Misty and her show, and yet at least I can talk about it. I don't have to hold on to the whole thing is a secret.
Man, I had to keep it a secret, and then I wanted to keep it. I wanted to keep it a little bit, So the folks who ended up on set with me, who knew I was in it, of course they knew, but
Right.
wanted to. I wanted to keep it a secret personally for me because I had never been in a film before, and I didn't know how much of that would have ended up in the movie, or if it was even good enough to make the cut. So
Right.
I was like,
Smart.
I don't want to be running around telling everybody, I'm about to be in the new Eminem movie,
Right.
and I'm nowhere, and they like, oh man, she lied.
That was smart. Okay, that was smart for that age. That was. I admit that was very smart.
I always try to be strategic, but and to hold on to things too, because I was taught as a younger individual by my parents, like not to tell all your business because not everybody roots for you. Like
Oh
sometimes
yes.
sometimes those secret congratulations are not really congratulations at all.
Yeah.
So just be careful who you tell all your business to. So yeah.
Amen. That's I. Don't I know it? Do I not know it? Look, let me tell you this. Working with Misty, so I cut half of my schedule to work with her,
Mm.
just because I've been doing things in the community for. I've been in Virginia for 4 years now from DC, and so look, when you were talking about Detroit and having 7 people outside in about 3 hours, I mean it's not that slow, but it's slower. It wouldn't here if it was probably 7 people outside in Petersburg. I'm exaggerating a little bit. They'd probably during the pandemic they'd be like, I don't see the difference. Nothing's going on. But we've talked about this lately that I have worked with so many people, and again, to cut my schedule in half to dedicate more of my time for her and getting her more acclimated in the community, and the fact that I don't have to twist her arm to do anything, is just a bonus. But when
Right.
I tell you that when people realize the day happened when they heard that Vonnie quit doing X, Y, and Z, and what is Vonnie doing? He's working with Misty Blanco.
Mm.
Oh, really? Bet. And it was like war, like a line in the sand. That very day, I think the line got deeper when we spoke on the phone.
Wow.
Something happened. Something happened about that very moment. I'll add. Yes, but that is another story. But just saying, I am definitely aware of those, half fake congratulatory
That's why I said
messages
it. That's
that
why
we
I
have to
said on
deal
the
with.
last song. I don't need you keep your handshakes and your what ups. Like
Yep.
just keep your handshake. You ain't been congratulated. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I don't need the fake love. I don't. I got a lot of people, and even with this is going back to the social media thing. I've been like on this whole because people be trying to. They be doing this passive aggressive comment and then they try to throw it at you like you being an asshole. Like, nah,
uh,
right. You know what I'm saying? You don't come on my page with that shit. I'm gonna tell you about yourself. But
yes.
but
It's needed.
I've been trying to purge my pages just to cleanse the energy and keep the energy clean. And like I can make space for people who really actually are here to support me and not
Yeah.
trying to be a secret troll. Like I don't like that. If you're gonna throw rocks,
It
don't hold.
makes a difference. It affects your day, your creativity, and people know this.
Yeah, but don't throw rocks and hide your hands. Throw the rock and show that you threw the rock, cause I need to know
Yeah.
who hit.
I was just talking to a friend, restaurant owner, who we were talking about this, how he had to go on a social media break. I think he was going through a breakup, and he was with really popular person that was provoking him online. And I said, look, we've known each other for years, for about 10 years. Both of us have similar histories, whereby the comment will happen, and then we have to immediately respond. We're going to go full force, and I said, you got to know when you're being provoked.
Yeah,
You've got to.
bait you. They'll try to bait you.
Yes, in social media, you get dragged into stuff because, especially with, as an artist,
Yeah.
someone just might be looking for
Oh,
that moment. There could be that day where you could just have that response, and the next thing we know, 8 Miles Miss Korona, just told somebody on Twitter to do such and such
Yeah.
that I can't say. You know what I mean? And so that was smart on your behalf. And look, I don't want to hold you, but I had a last question to ask. I don't think that I ever heard your story of how you became an out artist, why you chose to be. I bring it up because
I chose to not hide myself from the world. You know, I felt like Drake said, I wasn't hiding from the. I chose myself over what other people would think about me. You know, and how at one point in time, I just woke up and I was like, if people are not gonna listen to my music, if people are not gonna be my friends because of who I love, then I don't need them in my life. I don't need them to be my supporters because, you know, it was taking a toll on me trying to. I wasn't hiding, like, you know, like, oh, I just,
right.
you know what I mean? I was in a serious relationship or anything, like, trying to keep my partner hidden. But I made up my mind, like, well, when I get to that point, I don't want to keep it a secret. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Somebody who once I came out for the second time to my parents, then I had to revisit the conversation. Like, y'all remember when I was in fifth grade and I told y'all? So yeah, not a
It
phase.
still stands. It still stands.
Right. I'm still here.
Didn't change my mind.
Right. I had to choose myself and my happiness over anything. I'm like, man, you know, I ain't trying to be putting myself on public display, like, just because I might show up with my lover, like, oh, we gonna come kiss and put on a show. No, that's not what I'm here for. But if I want to bring my partner to the studio or to a show or be out in public on a date with somebody, then I want to do that comfortably. I don't want to have to
And
look
be
over
able to, tell the truth and, not try and find a space to hide them in, have an explanation, all of that.
But
I understand.
I swear every year I have to I don't know why. Well, I mean, I do know why because I'm cute, but these guys just still be trying to. And I'm like, you do know that I'm a lesbian. I know, but I feel like we got some. What? I don't know what you're feeling. And I've been single for a while too, but no. The guys,
sometimes people don't, hey. Sometimes the attraction happens. Some people might try, they might try their hand. And
I know what it is. They just be like, man, I know this thing tight. No, you ain't finna trick me. Serious. You don't want to be serious. You just wanna play. No, I'm good. But look, I got my sister. My sister Nico is hilarious because she be like, you can't find a woman because you're not gay for real. And I'll be like, oh, okay, but she like to joke with me like that. Okay, like, I guess I'm just gonna be single forever. But
I think you're probably with her, like, yeah, I think I've got this. No, I think I understand this point.
But I had her cracking up because a couple years back I went on tour, and I'm allergic to peanuts, and they gave me something with peanuts in it. I had an allergic reaction, and they had the rest of the hospital. I say, see, I guess that's why I'm a lesbian, because me and nuts just don't get along. You can't even do it.
See, even by accident, it didn't work.
Yeah, so yeah, I just woke up honestly one day and I was like, if my parents accept me and they love me for who I am, then I really don't care what the outside world has to say, But that was a lot of years of fighting,
trying to get to that point.
Yeah, fighting to get to that point, and fighting to be comfortable in my own skin, and just identifying with my identity and who I am, and you know what I'm saying. Like,
yes,
I have a song called "Who I Am" that talks about that, and you know what I'm saying. Like, I was I used to go to family houses and they were talking. I hear him talking about me, and she going
Right.
to hell. Like, why? Why I got to go to hell because of. And at that time, I wasn't even out to my family for real. I was like, oh, they just. But that's the thing. If everybody knew since I was a kid, then I'm not just doing it. You know what I'm saying?
I'll give you this, and of course, that's always the case where they know your family knows.
I don't know.
But I'd experienced similar and I grew up in church, and so I had not come out, and so there were people who felt that I was in high school, and so it was always this thing for years of is he or is he not, and so there was an elaborate, at least how I look at it, there's an elaborate thing of trying to like drag me out of the closet. And I think it was the pre-show where I mentioned about creating a production company being voted out of it. Like that was what that started with in that process. Cause like someone finally, after all these years, like got it out of me one day. And then all hell broke loose. But yeah, and of course you got the whispering, and then I'm sure, I don't know if you had the family members who were like, could you go over here and talk to him, see if you could, see if you can say something. Maybe steer him the right way. Maybe when you were younger and you didn't notice why certain conversations happened because they were trying to prevent it. But at the end of the day, you did what was best as far as being comfortable, and you didn't go like hopefully too far in life, or apparently not too far unlike other people, without
far enough.
Going far enough.
I went far enough. I think, and I have conversations.
And I'm always proud of saying people who are in the industry who are, and particularly in rap, who are able to comfortably be themselves because, well, you see how folks react to stuff. We've got a lot of crazy reactions going on to some things now.
Yeah. I tend to have these debates, and I won't say debates. I tend to have these discussions with a lot of my hip hop comrades and brothers, and more often than I like to. A lot of people try to drag Dwayne Wade for embracing, his daughter's transition and everything, and they like, oh man, I would never, and I could, and I'm like, listen, y'all don't even understand until it's you don't understand. You know what I mean? Like if your child showed up and said, this is who I really feel like I am, are you really going to deny them that happiness? Like when I was younger and I ended up kind of expressing it in that song, Who I Am, like when I was younger, I had thoughts of suicide because I would hear people, as black folks, and everybody are cousins when you grow up with them.
Right.
I had, family members who are folks who I grew up with thinking that they were my blood relatives who did not want me around because they didn't want me to turn their daughter gay, and I'm like, I was a kid. I was barely a teenager.
And why people think that's a thing, I don't know.
Even still today, grown people, oh no, I be have to tell these women, baby, don't flatter yourself. I got standards.
Right.
I might be single, but I got standards. You don't love everybody, and you can't turn somebody gay. Like that's the biggest myth ever. But man, it's just I commend a lot of people. But here's the thing that's funny. I want to say something. I don't know how long we got. I could talk all day. The thing that's funny is back then when I had my first girlfriend, I remember having conversations with my friends where I would always say, yeah, they took me to, and then we went, and then they did this. And I said, now everybody's a them in the day. I started it.
That's where that came from. I've written about this. Where did this come from? Trying to remember. I'm writing about people. Going grammar checking to make sure I put them in there. Got it.
I used to be sitting up there like
came out of Detroit.
Here it is.
Gotta give you your props for that.
Everybody now, because my friends would be looking at me like, why you keep saying or they? And I'm like who all was there? I'm like, oh, it was just us two. Now everybody
That was good.
man.
All right, so I don't want to hold you because similarly I can talk to you all day, and I don't think I ever keep to my clock schedule. I want to keep you backstage for just a second after this. So for one, so you did say that you have your next project is expected to be out by Valentine's Day, hopefully.
Praying that
And give the name again.
the name of the project is called The Healer and the Heartbreaker. And man, I went through. I hope this is my last heartbreak, man. I swear to God, I do. I just be like, oh my God, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. And I feel like you know what I mean. I'm not perfect, but I feel like I'm a good partner. You know what I mean. And it's like
Mhm.
I don't know what it is, but you'll hear about it. And you know, and you know what I'm saying? Like this last relationship, yeah, whatever. I mean, it is.
Yes,
She's happy, and I'm
uh,
happy by myself.
under,
She's happy.
understood. So this should be Valentine's the next day, 2022. Could you let everyone know where to follow you on social media?
So if you type in Miz Korona, MizKorona, you can find me Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. I'm on everything. It's Miz Korona. So you know.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I'm even on some of the dating apps as Miss Corona.
Okay.
I'm separated. No, I'm just
No,
joking.
no need. Okay, I was going to say no need in hiding. You just
No,
decided to be
no,
there
no,
with your
I'm not on that. You know,
name.
I'm scared of the dating apps stuff for real. I really am. But with the pandemic,
Sidebar: as a person who worked in mental health, I remember, and I was only in the field for a couple years. When I looked at who some of our clientele was, and we had some attractive people, really attractive people, and then if I read their chart,
mm,
and then I would say if I saw that person on an app doing the stuff that I had to read about at work, oh no,
oh,
I never went on another one ever since, and this was years ago. So yes, you were definitely thinking along the right lines there. But
yeah,
listen, this was a pleasure. I was really excited about talking to you.
me too.
I
I
might
was
have
so
lost a little
excited.
bit of sleep.
I was so excited. I announced the date weeks ahead of time.
Yes, you did. It's just like I think you're like we're talking tomorrow, and I was like, I think you might be a couple Tuesdays early, like maybe 3 Tuesdays early. But yes, I appreciate the enthusiasm. Look, I'm going to play an outro, and I want you to be behind just for a second.
Thank you.
All right.